What if I told you that the most popular can in your garage, the one you've been reaching for every time something squeaks, sticks, or seizes, was never designed to do what you think it does, and the companies selling you lubricants know it. They've always known it, and they're counting on the fact that you'll keep buying the wrong product for the wrong job over and over, while the people who actually fix things for a living, the mechanics, the locksmiths, the industrial maintenance crews, have been quietly using a completely different lineup of products this entire time. Here's what most people miss. The household lubricant market is a $191 billion industry, and right now, lubricant prices are surging 15 to 35% across every major supplier. Phillips 66, Chevron, Castrol, Shell, all of them hiking prices in the same window. That means every dollar you waste on the wrong product hurts more than it did 6 months ago. And here's the thing. One of the products on this list has been trusted by professionals since 1894, longer than your great-grandparents have been alive. And the product sitting at number 1, the one most people have never even heard of, was the only penetrating oil allowed on Boeing's production floor. That's the level we're talking about today. Hit that subscribe button because every week we post videos that cut through the marketing noise and show you exactly which products are worth your money and which ones are draining your wallet for nothing. Here are 5 household lubricants that are actually worth buying, ranked from genuinely useful to absolutely indispensable. Number 5. 3-in-1 Professional Garage Door Lubricant. The silent workhorse that keeps your biggest moving part from eating itself alive. Your garage door is the largest mechanical system in your home. It cycles up and down over 1,000 times a year, and every single cycle puts stress on springs, rollers, tracks, and hinges. Most people grab whatever can is closest and blast the whole assembly. That is exactly how you end up with a garage door that sounds like a freight train inside 6 months. This silicone-based spray from 3-in-1 does something most general-purpose products cannot. It reduces friction while actively protecting the metal from moisture and weather fluctuations. It's not just making things slide, it's keeping corrosion from ever getting a foothold. The formula dries quickly, which means it doesn't drip down onto your car or your garage floor, and because it dries clean, it reduces future dust accumulation instead of attracting every particle floating around in your garage. The testing backs this up. Independent reviewers consistently rank it as the best bang for the buck for garage door applications specifically. And that word specifically matters, because a product formulated for a specific job delivers far better results and wear protection than a general-purpose product ever will. A specialty product also lasts much longer, meaning you lubricate less often, avoid the frustration of recurring noise and binding, and save real money over time. Here's how to actually use it. Spray each hinge pivot point, both roller bearings, and the full length of the spring. Wipe excess from the track surface because you want the rollers lubricated, not the track slicked. Do this twice a year. The reason it gets overlooked is simple. People assume their garage door doesn't need its own dedicated lubricant. They reach for the blue and yellow can, spray, and pray, and wonder why they're doing it again in 3 weeks. Meanwhile, this can is probably sitting on the shelf at the same hardware store, and it costs less than a fast food lunch. If you've got a garage door groaning every morning on your way to work, this is the can that ends that. Number 4. WD-40 Specialist Silicone Lubricant. The safe-on-everything shield that outlasts the product most people confuse it with. Before anyone gets confused, this is not the classic WD-40 multi-use product. That's a water displacer built on volatile solvents. 45 to 50% of that formula is low vapor pressure aliphatic hydrocarbon, which is a fancy way of saying it evaporates within minutes, leaving behind a film so thin it barely qualifies as lubrication. The actual lubricating petroleum base oil in standard WD-40 makes up less than 35% of the can. You're literally spraying more solvent than lubricant. The specialist silicone is an entirely different animal. It's safe on metals, plastics, rubbers, and vinyl, which matters because if you slather regular petroleum-based lubricant onto plastic bushings, it seeps into the material, causes it to swell and bind, and suddenly you've made the problem worse. The numbers don't lie. This product delivers at least 50% greater wear protection than competing silicone sprays, and in a protected indoor environment, a silicone lubricant gives you 3 to 6 months of service compared to the minutes you get from the standard can. It's rated the best overall silicone spray for household use across multiple independent reviews. Here's how to actually use it. Cables, pulleys, guide rails, valves, linkages, hinges, locks, sliding glass doors, window tracks. Anywhere you need smooth motion without damaging the surface material. One light pass, wipe the excess. Why does it get overlooked? Because it sits on the shelf right next to the original WD-40, and most people assume they're buying the same thing in a different color. They're not. You've probably walked past this can 100 times at the hardware store without realizing it was the product you actually needed for the setup you're running. If you're starting to see the pattern, if you're realizing that the lubricant industry has been selling you convenience when you needed performance, do me a favor and hit that like button. It helps this reach people who actually want to know what works before they spend their money. And if you haven't subscribed yet, you belong here. Number 3. White lithium grease. The heavy-duty protector that laughs at weather, temperature, and time. This is where we leave the world of spray and walk away and enter the territory of serious, lasting protection. White lithium grease is the lubricant that industrial maintenance teams reach for when something metal touches something metal and needs to keep moving through rain, snow, heat, and cold. The WD-40 Specialist White Lithium Grease formulation withstands temperatures from -30 to 150 degrees Celsius. That's a range that covers everything from a frozen Minnesota hinge in January to an Arizona gate latch in August. And while silicone spray gives you 3 to 6 months indoors, white lithium grease in a similar protected spot easily lasts a year or two. Every pro who has done this knows it. You apply it once and forget about it. Car door hinges, boot hinges, bearing mechanisms, gear assemblies, piston mechanisms, anything metal on metal that lives outdoors or takes heavy load. It stays put where liquid sprays would drip away in hours. It also offers genuine rust protection, which means it's not just reducing friction, it's actively fighting corrosion the entire time it sits there. Here's how to actually use it. Apply a thin bead directly to the contact surfaces, work the mechanism back and forth a few times to distribute it and wipe away the excess. That last part is critical because white lithium grease collects dust and dirt, and if you glob it on, you create a paste that defeats the purpose entirely. A thin film is all you need. If the application is in a particularly dusty environment, dry lubricant is the better call. Why does it get overlooked? Because people see the word grease and think of messy automotive work. They don't realize that one tube applied to every exterior hinge, latch, and gate on their property takes 20 minutes and lasts longer than any spray they've ever owned. You've probably got a car hinge squeaking right now that this would silence for a year. Number 2. Dry PTFE lubricant. The invisible coat that refuses to collect dust, grime, or regret. This is the product that locksmiths wish you knew about because they're tired of pulling apart locks that homeowners have destroyed with cooking spray and WD-40. Standard wet lubricants attract and trap dust, dirt, and microscopic metal particles. Over time, that creates a thick, sticky sludge that gums up internal pins and springs, leading to accelerated wear and catastrophic failure. A locksmith used that exact word, catastrophic. Dry PTFE lubricant works on a completely different principle. It goes on wet, the carrier evaporates, and what remains is a thin, slippery coating of PTFE, the same compound known as Teflon, that makes surfaces glide smoothly without attracting dust or grime. Teardowns confirm it. Locks treated with PTFE or silicone spray maintain smooth operation for dramatically longer periods than locks treated with petroleum-based products, because the dry film doesn't create the buildup cycle that slowly destroys the mechanism from the inside. It's ideal for door and window tracks, slides, rollers, hinges, conveyor belts, power tools, saw blades, and drill bits. Anywhere you need friction reduction without residue. Here's how to actually use it. For locks, insert the straw applicator directly into the keyway, give 2 short bursts, then insert and remove the key several times to distribute the coating across all the pins. For tracks and slides, 1 light pass across the running surface, let it dry for 5 minutes before operating. Why does it get overlooked? Because the word dry doesn't sound like it could possibly lubricate anything. People instinctively reach for something wet and oily because it feels like it's working. That wet feeling is exactly what turns your lock cylinder into a dirt magnet. The right lubricant for your front door lock is probably not in your toolbox yet, and it should be. Number 1. Kroil Penetrating Oil. The 87-year-old secret that mechanics still refuse to share. This is the product that has been saving professionals since 1939, and most homeowners have never heard of it. Kano Laboratories created Kroil as a penetrating oil, and in 87 years, nothing has managed to dethrone it. When independent testing compared penetrating oils head-to-head, Kroil and Kroil were substantially more effective at getting rusty parts moving quicker, doing so almost immediately in many cases, and using less product to get there. The testing backs this up. There's a reason this was the only penetrating oil allowed on Boeing's production floor. 4 men weighing a combined 950 pounds used levers and sledges on a frozen shaft for half an hour and couldn't budge it. 1 man weighing 140 pounds applied Kroil, and by the time the crew came back from a break, they lifted the shaft out with no leverage whatsoever. That's not marketing copy, that's a field report. 950 pounds of force with tools couldn't do what a 140-pound man with the right product did barehanded. Now, Kroil isn't cheap. A 16-ounce can of Kroil runs about $35. But here's the math that matters. One application of Kroil frees a seized bolt that you'd otherwise round off, drill out, and replace. That single bolt replacement costs you the extracting tool, the new hardware, and an hour of frustration. Kroil pays for itself the first time you use it. Here's how to actually use it. Apply it and wait. Give it 10 to 15 minutes to creep into the threads. For severely corroded fasteners, apply it twice with a 15-minute soak between applications. It penetrates into the middle of the nut and lubricates the thread from the inside. Why does it get overlooked? Because it's not sitting on the end cap display at your big box store. It's never had a Super Bowl commercial. It sells itself through word of mouth among people who fix things for a living, and they're not exactly in a rush to share their advantage. You've probably got a rusted bolt, a frozen fitting, or a seized shaft somewhere on your property right now, and this is the can that ends that fight. If you made it all the way to the end, you've just learned something most people never will. The lubricant industry is not in the business of solving your problem once. It's in the business of selling you a can you'll need to use again next week. The 5 products on this list break that cycle, and if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell so you never miss a video. I'd love to have you on this journey with us. Remember, sometimes the best lubricant is not the one with the biggest marketing budget or the most famous name. Sometimes it's the one that's been sitting in a mechanic's toolbox since 1939, waiting for you to finally ask the right question.